The second season of Prime Video's Gen V continues to raise the stakes with each episode, especially for Marie. The previous episode focuses on the fight between her and Jordan, while her friends tried to stop the fight by trapping Cipher, whom they wrongly assumed to be human. The episode ends with a display of Cipher's powers as well as Marie's, and the fifth episode takes things even further as we get more bits and pieces about Cipher's true plan and what he really wants from Marie. Spoilers ahead. Cipher has a secret friend from the 7A month before the events of the second season of Gen V. Cipher was at his home tending to his father. He takes the old and frail Thomas Godolkin out of his box, feeds, cleans, and bathes him when an unexpected guest shows up. This guest is Sister Sage, and she and Cipher seem to be in a romantic relationship. It is not revealed how they met or how long they have been in cahoots, romantically and otherwise, but this shows that his presence at Godolkin shows that she is heavily involved in it. The meeting ends with them having sex on the toilet, while Thomas Godolkin watches from the bathtub. In the present, the fight between Marie and Jordan has ended. She is confused and exhilarated about her powers. They are confused and broken about Cipher taking over them and making them do whatever he wants. They reveal all that time they were still there in the back of their mind. It was like Cipher took the wheel, and they were pushed to the back seat, and they couldn't do anything about it. They feel violated, and while Marie tries to console them, Cipher shows up. He is happy about the way things turned out, and asks Marie how exhilarated she feels. He tells her to continue with their one-on-one sessions, but she refuses to do it. He threatens to send her friends to Elmira if she doesn't concede, pointing out that Kate is already there. He had to punish her to show people he should not be messed with. Meanwhile, Kate enters Elmira. She is subjected to the humiliation of stripping down, getting checked, and being put in a collar that prevents her from using her powers. She tries to escape, but ends up killing 2 guards, and gets caught and is thrown in a cell. Sam, on the other hand, is completely oblivious of what's happening to his friends. He goes home and meets his parents, who are surprised but also very happy to see him. While his father hugs him happily, his mother's reaction is a little bit cautious. Jordan, Marie, and Emma decide to help Kate. The shock of the fight, and the discovery of Kate being thrown in Elmira, leads Marie, Jordan, and Emma to discuss their next steps. Marie proposes the plan to break out Kate, but Emma is against it. She doesn't want to go back there, worried that they might not be able to come out again. Considering that Kate was the reason, or at least one of them, that led to their imprisonment the last time, she doesn't see any need to put their own lives in danger for her. However, Marie and Jordan convince her otherwise, talking about how it was for them when they were trapped in that place. Emma relents and agrees to join their rescue mission. The problem now is how to go about it. Marie tells them about the route she took when she broke out, and suggests that they use it to sneak back in. The question now is of breaking out again, and they discuss the path that they took until they were stopped by a metal door, which killed Andre Anderson. After brainstorming for a while, they cannot find another way out, and it's clear that getting that door out of the way is the only way to go about it. They need someone extremely powerful for that, so Emma calls Sam. Unbeknownst to her, he is at home chilling with his parents. So when she asks him to help get Kate out of Elmira, he declines, and even tells her not to go through with it. Sam not joining them is a huge problem, but there is no time to back out now. Marie assures them that she is much more powerful since the fight, and the last time she didn't have Jordan and Emma with her. As they are about to leave, Greg shows up. Emma tells him what they are planning to do, and asks him to go to Polarity if she doesn't show up in a day or 2. Elsewhere on campus, Polarity has a meeting with Cipher. He tries to engage the dean in a normal conversation, but Cipher has no time beating around the bush. He lays all the cards on the table, revealing that he knows Polarity has been asking around about his background and his powers. Cipher warns him that he has no idea what he is getting into. He also talks about Andre, confessing that he put that metal door there to test Andre's powers, but the young man's brain broke down. The mention of Andre angers Polarity, and he almost stabs Cipher in the neck. Cipher takes the knife and stabs himself in the hand, showing that he is not afraid of spilling blood, even if it is his own. The escape attempt goes awry. At the house, Sam goes into his old room and looks at the life he was forced to leave behind. His father gives him a box of the stuff he used to have when he was a kid, but it makes Sam angry that the box doesn't have more things from his life before everything changed. He thinks his parents forgot him, but his father reveals that they didn't know he was alive. It seems that Vought lied to them about it, and they even had a funeral for Sam. Then their other son died, and soon after they saw it in the news that Sam was alive and well. When they tried to contact him, Vought told them that Sam didn't want to meet with them. Sam didn't know that they tried to reach him, and the fact that his family hadn't forgotten about him warms him a little. But then, he sees his mother making a phone call, which immediately ticks him off. He thinks she is calling Vought, and while she tries to tell him that she was just ordering pizza, he breaks her phone and talks about how they were supposed to protect him. When his father tries to calm him down, he pushes him away, throwing him off at a distance. The act shocks everyone, including Sam. Meanwhile, Marie, Jordan, and Emma break into Elmira, but the vent through which Marie had escaped is revealed to have been blocked. By the time they realize it's a trap, they are rendered unconscious, and when they wake up, they are collared up and thrown into cells. Emma is placed in a cell that is next to Kate's, who is moved about the fact that they tried to rescue her. Sage shows up at Elmira to meet Cipher, who is monitoring everyone, especially Marie. He confesses that had she agreed to take classes with him at school, he wouldn't have had to resort to this. However, nothing that he could teach her school would come close to the pressure created by Elmira's environment. Sage reveals that she has found a way to speed up the process because once Marie reaches her full potential, they will finally have a way to have everything they want. Their conversation also suggests that Homelander has no idea what they are up to. Meanwhile, Polarity tries to reach out to the kids, but none of them pick up the phone. A series of family photos leads him to think about Andre, but then he has a terrible seizure. An unexpected challenge leads Marie to tap into her powers, having unintentionally attacked his own father. Sam hides away from his parents at the park. His mother seeks him out, assuring him that his father is fine. Sam asks them why they injected him with Compound V, believing that the powers brought out the worst in him. However, his mother reveals that his mental health has no connection to being a super. One of her uncles had schizophrenia, and it seems that Sam inherited that gene. Her parents thought that Compound V would cure him, but it seems that the mental illness has stuck around. Sam is devastated at this discovery, but it also gives him some clarity, and he makes peace with his mother. At Elmira, Marie tries to use her powers by making herself bleed, but Cipher tells her that she was injected with an anticoagulant when she was caught, so she shouldn't cut herself so much. He also tells her how much easier it would have been had she agreed to the one-on-one sessions, which prompts Jordan to ask him to cut to the chase and reveal what he really wants from her. Cipher tries to challenge Jordan's already low self-esteem, saying that he picked them because he knows how weak they are. When he threatens to take control of their brain again, claiming how much he will enjoy it, Jordan points out that there was no enjoyment when he did it the last time. While Jordan may have been helpless, they could see that taking over their brain was a painful process for him. Cipher takes Marie out of her cell. First he shows the place where Andre died, and as if that wasn't enough to traumatize her, he takes her to a cell where her sister Annabeth is being held captive. When she tries to fight back, she is subdued and thrown back in her cell. Meanwhile, Sate picks off a stapler pin, which was used to close off her head wound. With that, she breaks the lock of her collar. She feigns unconsciousness, so when a guard comes in to examine her, she makes him give her the key to the cells. Because her powers have gone all haywire, the guard ends up stabbing himself in the eye with the key. So Kate has to pull it off his eye socket. In any case, the job is done. She frees Emma, then Jordan, and then Marie. The absence of soldiers and the ease with which they could free themselves makes them wonder if this is yet another trap, but there is no time to think. They go to Annabeth's cell, where they find that her throat has been slit, and she is bleeding to death. Seeing her sister like that leads Marie to push her powers. It makes her bleed from the nose, while also affecting Kate, Jordan, and Emma, who experience a piercing headache and nosebleed. But in the end, Marie manages to seal her sister's wound and brings her back to life. Gen V. Is Cipher human? Is he Thomas Godolkin's son? Diksha Sundrial, September 24, 2025. The second season of Prime Video's Gen V introduces a formidable villain in the form of Cipher, the new dean of Godolkin University. While he identifies as a Supe, his powers and true origin remain a mystery. No one knows where he comes from and who he really is, which leads Marie and her friends to try to dig into his life. The need to know more about him and his secrets becomes more urgent when he decides to pit Marie and Jordan in a public fight that becomes the talk of the town. The desperation to make him stop the fight leads to some shocking discoveries, beginning with the doubts over him being a Supe. Spoilers ahead. The lack of Compound V in Cipher raises major questions. Unlike every other powerful Supe whose powers are publicly known, Cipher prefers to keep his powers a secret. While it is known that he somehow has eyes and ears everywhere and seems to know all sorts of things about people, there is no way to confirm how he knows about it in the first place. Since nothing comes up on him, the only way to learn something of substance is to break into his house, especially after Kate reveals that there is a secret vault in his house. So while Kate and Jordan sneak into his place, Marie decides to keep him occupied. He had been wanting to train her for some time, so she decides to oblige and signs up for a private lesson. It begins with him teaching her to control her powers, such that she can move blood bags without destroying them. The lesson helps her tap into her powers, and after an initial hitch, she moves all the bags without popping any of them. Then he takes her a step further and tells her to levitate a goat without killing it. She succeeds at the levitating part, and most likely wouldn't have killed the goat if she hadn't gotten distracted. As Cipher is awed by her power and admires the levitating goat, she uses this time to look into his bloodstream and realizes that there is no Compound V there. Since all Supas are known to have received their powers from Compound V, it convinces Marie that Cipher is not a Sup due to the lack of the blue chemical in his veins. This gives her and her friends more confidence, leading Kate and Emma to stage a sting operation where they try to get him on camera while confessing that he is a simple human and not a Supa. At first he plays along, but eventually he reveals the true extent of his powers. It turns out that he really is a Supa, and his powers are mind control. This explains how he always seemed to know stuff and remained a step ahead of everyone else. It remains to be seen whether controlling others' minds is his only power, but it is clear that he has such mastery over it that he doesn't need to use his hands like Marie, or to touch someone like Kate to exert his power over them. This is what he had been trying to teach Marie during the goat lesson. Now that it is confirmed that he is a Supa, the question of the missing compound V from his veins becomes an even more intriguing mystery. This is where the secret vault in his house comes into the picture. Cipher's parentage explains his powers. While Marie trains with Cipher, Kate and Jordan break into his house and enter the vault, which turns out to be a secret room. There they find a burnt man inside a hyperbaric chamber. Later, when Cipher confronts Kate about the break-in, he reveals that the burnt man is his father. From an earlier scene of the season, we know that years ago there was a fire at the lab where Thomas Godolkin had been working on Project Odessa. While his colleagues died from the side effects of taking Compound V, he suffered major burns from the fire caused by their actions. It seems that somehow he survived the fire, and it may have to do with the fact that he himself was on Compound V. While the whole picture remains to be seen, it can be fairly assumed that Thomas Godolkin took some of the V himself, and perhaps it gave him some superpower that allowed him to survive the fire and to stay alive for all these years. More importantly, it explains why Cipher doesn't have Compound V in his veins. From the boys, we know that the offspring of Supes have the potential to be Supes as well. Ryan is a prime example of this. Andre Anderson too would not have required a shot of V to have powers because he was born to polarity, a Supes. This means that the offspring inherit the powers, which don't require V in their bloodstream, which means that Cipher, who also does not have V in his blood, is the offspring of a Supes. Since Thomas Godolkin is his father, it is fair to assume that Godolkin took a shot of V, which led his son to become a Supes. Since Marie and her friend don't know any adults, or even any of their peers, who have gotten powers without Compound V, it makes sense that they would think that not having V means a person is not a Supes. The revelation about Cipher shatters that perception, while also setting the stage to unravel more mysteries about Cipher, Thomas Godolkin, and their secret project Odessa.